Welcome, AfterBuzzers. You're watching the After Show for Greenleaf Season 4, Episode 4, Common Enemy, where tonight we talk church integration, AJ adjust, and Karissa stays course with special guest Benjamin Patterson. Stay tuned for more.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome back, Greenleaf fam. We are back in the house. I'm your host, Shaka Smith, joined by my lovely co-host, Miss TK Trinidad.
Oh, we start with me? Hi.
Oh, yeah, as you can see on Weekly Women's Wrestling and also on Fit Club. And we got Mrs. Rocky Harris. What's up? We can see on Black Twitter Live.
Yeah.
And of course, we got our special guest, Mr. Benjamin Patterson.
What's up? How you guys? Good to be back. Good to be back.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Nice to be back.
It's nice.
Glad
It's nice.
that you are.
I feel good under the lights.
Yes, if it's been a while, this is Noah. He's back. Season 1, he's back. We're so excited. What a wonderful episode. We got a lot of drama in this one. But let's just go ahead and talk about our overall thoughts.
It was a lot. There's a lot going on. That's why I do like Greenleaf, but it's also like one of those things where you can't just like multitask because you're going to miss a lot. But it's a lot of things that are happening in churches today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one thing that I liked that while we were watching was that we realized that this kind of has happened in our lives too, at least for me and TK. I didn't think about it as much when I was a kid with integration, where a predominantly black church gets either taken over or infiltrated or, bought out by a white congregation or church. So it's interesting because I didn't think of gentrification in that way.
Yeah, and as congregants, we're just sort of there. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So
Right.
some of these issues we never even thought about.
And until one day, like TK said, your black pastor just not there anymore.
Can't find him on Instagram.
Right.
Can't find him on Twitter.
We got Reverend Ronald Beverly coming up.
What were your overall thoughts of the
First of all,
episode?
you know what? I think the episode really, it sets a really nice stage. As you saw at the very end, my character makes a very harsh announcement, and it's like, hey, look, this is what it is. But there's a lot of things that are basically being set up so that the climax takes over a few, maybe I think like 4 or 5 episodes. It's going to be some really pivotal moments. So I loved it.
And you said you didn't know that this was going to be the outcome.
I did not.
Yeah, at all. So,
Wow.
Right.
We got some good topics to talk about. Of course, we have our news, our predictions, and our special segment later on, Who Needs Prayer, where we pick a character who needs prayer and we, give them some good words. Give them some good words.
Good words for a character.
Hallelujah.
Our first topic, of course, is the whole church integration saga, which kind of took over the entire episode. But I love the way it starts, and I think part of it was that meeting with Grace and Cal and having them realize that they really didn't want to do this, that Bob is forcing this. TK, what do you think about Bob's plans? I mean, are they good? Is he really someone who's trying to make the world a better place?
This is what a lot of people don't understand. I have to tell this story real quick. So I was at work and the security guard was saying how he doesn't buy, a black security guard saying he doesn't buy from black-owned businesses because they're so expensive. And what a lot of people don't realize is there's so many different levels as far as higher mortgages, like bank loans, all this stuff that comes into play that minorities have to deal with that white people don't have to deal with.
Right.
So when you have, of course, everybody's human and stuff happens and, not so great stuff happens. But when you have churches, particularly black churches, and, they can't pay certain bills or whatever, and their mortgages are higher, these are the issues that the congregation has to deal with, and the church might need some help, and then the white folks come in.
Yeah.
So this is what a lot of people just don't understand. It's not just because
they just want to charge.
Yeah, they just want to charge, and they're doing 3 or 4 collection plates.
Right.
There's so many other issues that's happening. It's like I'm sure most churches don't. Well, I mean, it's not speak for all churches, but I'm sure that when a church first starts out, their intention is not to bleed their congregation dry.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of issues in play that, us as a society, we haven't even dealt with.
Yeah.
So, now you have the, white folks coming in, and it's just, it's a situation sometimes.
But is it for the best? Because, Calvary is kind of on its own struggling, and then you have this, I think it's Fairview, and so Fairview's got, their numbers have gone way down. So is Bob Whitmore doing what's best for both congregations to make sure that Calvary is successful and Fairview kind of is also successful?
Well, what's the definition of success? Because is the definition of success that your congregation's doing well spiritually, you can count financially, physically, all this other stuff, or is success doing the church is doing well?
I think it's the first.
Those are 2 different things.
Well, it seems that Harmony and Hope is marking that by financial success, and if they're doing so in order to put money back into the community, into positive ventures, then I don't see using how much money they bring in, as a metric. And of course, it's a business to a degree. You can't have a church that's losing money.
Right.
Then,
That's where you need to start.
But here's the thing, though. If you are, as a church, investing into your congregation, so for instance, somebody's investing into you, and now you have flourished, the right thing to do, and what you would want to do, is to give back to the person that's invested in you, right? But if you're now in a church and stuff is happening to your family, on a spiritual level, on a financial level, and all this other stuff, and the church that you've been going to every Sunday is not helping, or at least assisting in some sort of way, then why are you going to give to the second collection plate? You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things. It's just one of the second plate. It's just one of those things. Why, it's like you invest in your congregation, and you can see that with churches that you go to. The churches where you don't have to beg for volunteers, and they show up on a Saturday night, on a Wednesday, on a this, on a that. That means that they're doing something a little bit more. The church that you go to and they're begging for volunteers and they're struggling, that means that they're not really investing in their congregation.
But I mean, for me, I don't know. For me, I see it as, I think Bob Whitmore's heartless about it, but I think he's just trying to say, here's the most efficient means for us to make this money and serve it in God's use. And when I talk about God's use, I got to talk about it in a sort of business relationship, because I am the CEO of Hope and Harmony. I can't just sort of, leave things to God or pray about it and not think about that bottom line.
Well, I thought it was kind of disturbing, though, like when Gigi was on stage and she was giving her speech, or not speech, but her word for the day. That's what we say. Well, we say word for the day.
Yeah.
She's her speech.
Well, not speech. Well, I mean, because it kind of seems more
different
speechy
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, because she was making a message. There was a deeper message in what she was saying.
Yeah.
An ulterior motive. But I just felt like when he said, "Oh, this is very on brand." That's when I felt like, oh, this isn't really, this isn't really about how you feel. This is, you're trying to market something. And just like how Pastor Greenleaf said, like, when's the last time that you've seen a mega church that's owned by Black people, that's run by Black people? So, I don't know. I just felt like we don't really know what's kind of going on. I feel like everyone's going in different ways. Yeah. So,
when you get churches that big, there's always going to be an issue. Like I remember when I went to Kenya and I went to the church there. It's like night and day. This is where you really rely on faith, because like
good night.
It's true though. The mega churches versus other churches, other places, like the Western mentality of church is totally different than other places in the world.
Well, and that's even different for if you go to the South, because most of the time, like and mind you, this is in Memphis, this is the South, but there are a lot of places that are smaller cities where they have smaller churches and their congregations are smaller. Like I don't think it's just an American thing. I think it's just Americans.
I'm saying the mega churches.
No. I mean, yes. I don't think we've ever put a spotlight on any other parts of the world where church and Christianity is as...
Other than Australia.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, I think that Americans do a great job of profiting off of things. So, in general. So, I think that no matter...
Slavery.
Well, that's what I mean. Whatever it is that your lifestyle is, whether it be religion, whether it be sexuality, whether anything is profitable.
Why do you put the shotgun though?
I'm talking about anything. We all have sexuality.
Okay, just checking.
But yeah, I mean, I would hope you're a part of the sexual spectrum in some way. But yeah,
in some way,
be a part of it. You know, join it. It's fun. So, but yeah, it is. Hey, anyway, so, but yeah, no, I just feel like, right, exactly. But I just feel like I said, everything in America is profitable in some way, and obviously we've seen that from this episode. So, I don't know. I just think. I just feel like I need to know where the rest of the season is going to go, because I feel like everyone's making major moves, but we're just trying to get to that final climax.
Right. And so for me, So
JL O'Brien says TD Jakes has a mega church. Yes, he does have a mega church, but if you were to compare the numbers between Black pastors with mega churches versus white pastors with mega churches, there's definitely a skew versus the population. So that's kind of what we were talking about. So yes, there are Black pastors who own the mega churches, all this other stuff, but if you look at the numbers, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, for me, like I didn't know much about megachurches until, or at least the inner workings of them until watching this series.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I just go to my local church, and I don't really watch anything online or anything.
Well, but your
huge.
local church be these megachurches.
Oh no, my local.
Yeah, it's in a Mosaic.
Small.
Where do you go?
Growing up, I'm saying. So so that was my experience, my exposure. But here's the question though about this episode.
I'm just saying, they got billions of churches all over the place.
Right.
But we got to ask, did Gigi make a mistake? And so knowing Gigi's personality, she always likes to go in head first, be the savior, without too much thought. She almost looked like she listened to her mom a little bit on this one. Lady May, because Lady May said kind of dig in and be for the family.
Right.
Do you think she made a mistake, Mr. Patterson?
Do I think,
knowing
or does
her
the
so
character
well.
think? Do I think?
Made a mistake in doing what?
In delivering that sermon.
Message,
delivering that sermon.
Right.
And, because just with Gigi, her whole personality, she did the same thing with the kid, and she doesn't tell anybody, she just does her own thing.
Yeah.
So did she make a mistake?
Yes.
I think Ben Patterson watching the show,
Yeah.
she made the right choice
Yeah.
because it's not the safe choice. It's not the careful choice. It's the from the heart choice, and it's the defend my family the choice, and it's also the maternal instinct kind of kicking in. Like this is her family that she's protecting.
See, but here is the problem.
Here it is.
In the art of war, you can't use you can't base yes, she's defending her family, but she's essentially showing her hand. Right.
However,
chapter 2.
She's bringing out the negative in Bob by doing that because she's like, I'm gonna set it up like this.
Right.
I'm gonna come after you in front of all your people, make you look bad. Now he's gonna pull her aside and behind closed doors and say, hey, look, I'm gonna check you. This is my church. You just work here. But by doing that, now she's kind of bringing that out of him so that maybe he'll slip up in front of somebody else.
Right.
And not even just
but
make
if he
him
fires her, then there's nobody to slip up in front of him. Then she just
very
outside.
true.
But then it would seem weird if she gets fired.
After that sermon.
Right.
And not just make him look bad, I thought her sermon was activating other people to be independent in their own thought.
Right.
So that was really what it was, is like she activated a bunch of potential dissenters for Bob.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree.
Now,
who knows?
Who knows?
Now, does Noah the character agree? Because to me, I think Noah is going to be tired of this sort of Gigi that always does what she wants and
Well,
charts
that's what
her own
Noah
path.
is right now.
Noah needs to lay it down. Noah's single now. Go and get Gigi now, Noah.
She
Go and
loves
get me some Noah.
See, so Noah the character doesn't know this has all happened yet.
Yeah.
He just knows,
He has a son.
at the end of this episode, you see what happens when he's on the phone with her. So we're going to have to revisit that
Yeah, 'cause
question.
I feel like that personality streak, I want to root for Noah and Gigi, but I feel like she's this person that is going to always like upset him and irk him and piss him off.
I don't
think so.
I feel like Gigi's like running around with like no direction sometimes. She just seems like she's like, I want to solve this problem, then she forgets about this problem, and then it leads to another problem.
Or she doesn't really consider the fallout. She does feel called to do things, but she doesn't really think about the fallout.
Yeah.
I think she's passionate and she goes for what she believes in. And I think Noah is he's one of those men. He's a strong man, but he's not gonna be the one that's gonna like wrangle her and say this is what you need to do. It's gonna be more of okay, I'm gonna allow you to do this, and then if you get too close to the fire, I'm gonna have to like just lovingly in a certain way bring you back.
Yeah.
To
because remember
home
they
base.
grew up together.
Exactly.
So
He knows her personality.
He knows her.
Yeah.
And of course, we hope you guys, if we get too close to the fire, you lovingly bring us back in the chat.
I
and
never
think
get close to the fire.
Rocky has a few words to say about that.
Good night. It's all me every week. But no, I mean, as we tell you every single week, in order for us to continue to be here every single week, you have to give us 5 stars, give us likes, follow us on iTunes, everything, YouTube, subscribe to us so that you can see all of our shows and all the other amazing shows that we have at AfterBuzz TV and Black Hollywood Live, because we zoo it everywhere underneath all these different umbrellas. Listen, I'll bring the color to the panda, okay? But anyway, like I said,
there's a whole nother joke there I'm gonna leave out.
All right. But so we can continue to be the ESPN of TV talk. Obviously, love us, like us. We'll be back.
Yes. We love you, and hopefully you love us despite ourselves.
All right.
What?
You can
we got to talk about...
What's wrong with you?
Our next topic we got to talk about is AJ adjusting to his new reality, but almost more like Sophia adjusting to AJ, because I'm confused.
Sophia's tired, okay?
I'm tired of Sophia. But
Damn.
I don't know
this
what's
abuse
happening.
that she's getting every single week from you, Shaka.
Well, you know, since I'm confused, can you explain to me this relationship that she's having with AJ and why she's just as emotional as she seems to be about it?
I feel like she should be emotional. She doesn't know her sibling. She's known herself to be an only child for all these years, and her mother has been lying to her about her sibling.
Lying by omission, right? Really?
A white lie.
It never really came up, so I'm sure, you know.
But how would you feel if you,
never
for
really
all of
came
these
up.
years that you've been living, you
Yeah.
find out that you have a sibling who's in jail, and your mother is saying like, "Oh well, I mean, I had to do what I had to do and keep him away." Like
I'd be kind of excited to find out the sibling, as long as there was nothing, you know, during my lifetime that I felt was weird.
But she
for
probably
the
might
fact-
feel that way. She
Yeah.
might feel like that's some of it's because of her or her fault, because Gigi felt like, okay, I have to take this family, and just to know that your mom was shiesty like that,
It
like that
just
would be
seems-
kind of crazy.
It just seems clear.
Shiesty like that.
Shiesty.
Too
But
shiesty.
It seems clear to me that Gigi clearly did this to protect Sophia. So
Yeah.
that whatever it was, and that Sophia lived a amazing life.
But you lived,
So-
but you're
Yeah.
a deadbeat mom.
to somebody else.
Yeah.
But me and you,
No.
we've been good.
No, that's like taking your whole upbringing and finding out that you were adopted. Like your whole life, to a certain extent, has not been, you know, the fantasy that you've created in your head is something totally different.
I think I would feel weird. I'd feel like this is really bizarre.
Well, that's what she feels like.
I can't
Weird.
believe, but I wouldn't be upset about it in the way that she seems to be upset, because
you're
she's been
heartless.
given this amazing. No, but it's
Also-
almost as like her parents didn't take care of it.
But it's not about that though. I mean, I think again, she cannot have children. She is there's a lot going on with her.
Wait a minute. Now that you say that, that might be part of it. That to me speaks more
Did you say
volumes
that
than.
last week?
I did.
No.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Shaka,
you did.
Shaka is
She
attacking
did.
every single time.
No, I don't think it doesn't make sense. Now, if it's something to do with not having kids and she's thinking about in that way, I think that makes a little bit
Well,
more
it's
sense.
a lot to like think of when you were her age and the
Yeah.
first world problems that you had versus the first world problems that she has. Like
They were more problematic.
no, but
Can't have children.
yeah.
Shaka.
Is she
That's a
want
lot.
because when you're 19, 20, your whole life's in front of you and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do this, you have it all kind of planned out, which, you know, it goes
Especially as a woman, as a young woman.
And then now to think that your whole thing that you've kind of been setting your life up for, you can't have at all.
And the one person that's been by your side since day one is a liar.
No.
A liar.
Oh, somebody please clip that one.
Okay, you
Get
are
that
a liar.
one, boy.
Wait, I agree with all of that, and that makes sense to me. But I've missed that connection. As
'Cause
to
you're a
that,
man.
Maybe that's. Did you see this connection? Did you see the connection that she's so upset with Grace, her mom, because of the fact that she can't have children, even though she doesn't seem to really explicitly say that she's that upset about Grace being a deadbeat mother, because that she doesn't have the opportunity.
You don't want to be
a mother.
lied to. Say if you were in a relationship
Yeah.
and somebody lied about
It's just
say
weird.
if you were in a relationship and somebody had a kid,
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna
And
say
you were
that.
dating them for 3 years.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, by the way, I had a kid. I forgot to tell you. Now you a daddy."
Or can't have kids.
Well,
And
yeah,
you
like-
fall in love with them. And
yeah,
not,
like that's a lie.
That to me is completely different than my mother taking care of me for.
So you feel like as long as they was loyal to me, it don't matter.
I don't think it would change. No.
That's its only child syndrome right
Not
there.
that it doesn't matter, but there's something emotional that would change, and you can't change the 18 years that you've been taking care of me, and that I've
Yeah.
been the number one. So I'm
you're
gonna love you. You're my mom.
Well,
Like,
of course.
Yeah, but
And
you're
then the
thinking
one-
from first world perspective.
But the
You're-
one, well, so was Sophia, right?
Yeah,
She
no,
was CB?
because when you're in it, because think of all all of us in this situation living in America. When you're in it, she's like, oh my god, my car doesn't work, my this and there are people who don't even have like shoes,
Or
you know what I'm
feet.
saying, or feet. So it's like you're thinking from a first world perspective, and she's not thinking about all the things that she has. She's
Yeah.
thinking of the
Right.
fact that her mother, who she absolutely loves, and we
Yeah.
know Sophia like that, to like, okay, I trust this woman explicitly. to lie to her whole life.
Yeah. And think about how the God aspect of it too. Her mother is so close to God,
and she's preaching.
And she probably feels like nothing in my life is true because now she stepped away from God for a long time because of her finding out that she's sterile. Like she literally is probably like, I don't have anyone actually in my corner.
She might have thought that her she out of her whole family, she saw the craziness happening to her family, the stableness in the sea was her mom, and then her mom is just as trifling as her family. So it's just like, oh well,
I'm going with my dad.
That's it. That's it.
The dad in and out of her life.
He's like, I don't even know why I'm here.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
And are we concerned about what the coping mechanism of drinking? Because
did we think that was happening? Did you feel like she was overdoing it on purpose?
I think it was because she says it's the first time. Yeah, she says that, so I think it's she hit the hand dog too hard.
Yeah, and it just didn't look like it boded well for the way it's going. Yeah, from the way it's going, and she was out like this.
Out like a light.
Hey, anything is possible. You gotta do it.
So, are we concerned at all about this coping mechanism? And I thought AJ was drinking as well. It seemed like
AJ's a man.
Yeah, but morning,
I think we all have some type of coping mechanism or vice that we deal with.
Yeah,
he had to get that hand.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm coming out the studio.
So we all have some type of coping mechanism that we have or deal with, but the only difference is some people don't know how to control it or when to stop, and then some people do. So, as far as we can see, we don't see anybody in Sophia's family that has any type of addiction that I know of or that I can remember. So maybe she will be able to cope with it. Maybe she'll fall down a little bit, drink too much, but it's a little bit different when there's an addiction versus...
Well, I feel like it's well deserved.
Does Noah have an addiction? Do we know? You're the father. You are the father.
Yeah, but he's not. Were you Sophia's father too?
Oh. No. But AJ, I think, is going to have trouble with alcohol as well because he looks like he was knocking him back early in the morning.
I feel like he was. Look,
was chilling.
I got
out of jail. I have a nice apartment, and I can afford some Henny. Let me just.
I ain't gotta pay for nothing. Okay, I'm living my life.
Just sip this right now.
Period. Okay.
Period.
And he probably ain't paying. Gigi probably not paying that much either. If it's in Memphis, it's real cheap. Whatever it is, and she got that money, so it don't matter.
Money. What happens when she runs out of it, though?
You think she's gonna run out? No, she ain't gonna run out.
Oh no, she's good.
She's spending like how Michael Jackson spelt when he was in Vegas.
Whoa.
Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson. Okay.
No, we're not talking about Michael Jackson.
As a viewer, what do you think about it? As a viewer, what do you think about AJ and about this new son for Noah?
As a viewer,
and what we know limited about him now,
it's pretty. It's like it's earth shattering. You know what I mean? Like you saw that, and actually, you see the journey that AJ is going through. It's like a whirlwind because now I have a sister. Now I found my parents. I've reached out to both. I'm in the company of one, but they're not exposing me to the family yet. But now I have a sister who I can kind of communicate with. So he's feeling a lot more stable within the context of I just came out of jail, prison.
Right.
I was incarcerated. So I know fight or flight like nobody in this house knows. Right. And now it's like, okay, you guys just don't understand. Like, this is easy. Y'all need to just chill out because, it's going to be an easier ride than you think. Like, I just came from not having freedom. You guys have all this other stuff. Granted, Sophia has the health issues, but
she's still alive.
She's still alive, and they can actually coexist with that, knowing like, hey, look, you can calm down, and I can calm down, and now we can move forward and be like productive adults.
Yeah, because there was that moment where Grace was asking where he learned to cook, and he's like, not prison, like you people think that there's something that we learn. There's something, but I love that the way they kind of highlighted that, jail is different, prison is different.
Yeah.
You can't just go ahead and assume that it's something that is rehabilitative, and because it should be almost that, but it's not. So I just love that they spoke to those issues, or starting to speak to it now.
Yeah. It also speaks to the church too, because there is a sermon in the story that Gigi and Sophia and AJ are going through.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's there's of course everybody kind of holds on to, you know, certain skeletons or secrets that they want to hold on to themselves. But if you're going to be a pastor, and I think the most effective pastors to me are the ones who just lay it all out there. Like, yeah, I make mistakes. Yes, and this is what I've learned from it. And I'm hoping that by telling you these lessons that I've learned, that it's going to keep you away. Yeah. You know, so I think that would bring a different element from the church. But obviously, it's not going to happen, but it'd be beneficial if it did.
Yeah, but who knows? You know, like I think that...
Will it happen, though? Will she have a sermon?
That I do not know.
But, I mean, I think that sermon speaks to a lot of what's happening in the series, though. That whole, you know, Moses being the uniter, that part that Bob liked. I think Gigi might be that uniter until she's trying to...
Well, that was like the whole... Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you ain't never heard Moses be the uniter?
No, but I mean Gigi on the family level. Like, she was talking to
them. Well, no. Yeah. Right, I feel like that was like the entire, like, symbolism behind the entire, you know, whatever.
But maybe she's not, though, because they've kind of, throughout the seasons, it was kind of like, okay, she came with a mission. She, you know, she found certain things. She kind of destroyed the family.
Well, yeah. She parted the Red Sea.
Right.
No, she's never been the uniter for the family. For the family, she's always been the divider, but I think she might start... No, she, I mean, she...
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
right.
but her intentions were well thought out. Like, she was intending to keep it was for the family. It just kind of good intentions, but it just didn't end out well.
They weren't ready for her.
Yeah, but to me, she's the only one that can actually unite them now. She's in a position to unite them. How she does it, if she can or will, is another thing.
Another story. See, I agree with Hampton Blue. She's the
Hampton Blue now.
Yeah, I believe AJ will unite the family.
AJ, well,
yeah, I think so too. Well, because last week y'all was on me about that too.
Well, I mean, we can save that part later for predictions. But when AJ said to her, "Oh, Sophia's dad's a chef. Oh, I've been doing my research," that seemed a little bit more sinister to me than someone who would be. When Grace talked to AJ in the kitchen, it's like, "Oh, were you a chef or something like that?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, like Sophia's dad." And she said, "You know Sophia's dad's a chef?" He's like, "Yeah, I did my research."
Well, he's been talking to her though.
That seemed weird for you?
Yeah, because he's dropped that before in the phone call about Sophia, like just dropping that he knows more, that he's been doing research. It almost was stalkery.
Well, I mean,
it's like a subtle version of torture. Like you left me on my own. I had to go through all of this. I'm gonna drop some gems to make you think. Like you're gonna think certain things. Like, okay, well, how do you know all this?
I think it's kind of sad that he's been watching his family live their life and he's not a part of it.
But even Sophia's father, who's got no.
How do we know Sophia hasn't told him though? Like how do we know Sophia didn't tell him this stuff?
Well, why wouldn't she have pictures with why wouldn't I guess
he dropped it in a weird way in that conversation. Like
I think you just have things against felons.
I don't know how to respond to that. You have things against felons. I don't know.
So what do you think? Do you think he's gonna he's trying to attack them or get vengeance?
To me, it was sinister. To me, it was this might be someone who at some point either out for revenge, consider revenge, or might be considering it right now. But we'll see.
That makes sense though, because that would put together why he kind of looked at Sophia weird when she was on the bed, because he was kind of thinking to not in a weird pervy way. I thought it was maybe he was contemplating what he wanted to do or what plot he had against Gigi. Not necessarily I think Sophia is the one that's
and maybe that might complicate.
Yeah,
his
he's like, I don't want to hurt her.
Yeah.
He probably did try to harm or wanted to harm somebody, but he was like, man, she really. She's softening me up.
But we got to save that for later. Save that for later. Yeah. But we do have her. We got to talk.
J.L. O'Brien says, "Let Ben talk more."
Oh, hey, you know what? The thing about that is, I have to listen because I know what's going to happen.
So why don't you just tell us?
So I can't just go out and say. But you know what? Don't worry. We got you.
Right.
We got you.
Whatever y'all want.
We got you. Don't worry about it.
We got to talk about Karissa staying the course. Karissa made, some nice revelations, and she put two and two together, and she realizes now that Hope and Harmony is buying the land.
She's very smart.
Yeah, so it's like, what do you guys think about Karissa? And we'll start with you. No. What do you think about Karissa as a viewer staying silent without giving any knowledge of any future plans?
She's historically been the person, although maybe not well received by Lady May, she has been the one that's like, no, look, this is wrong, this is right, you need to do this. And sometimes it's like to her fault because, to her detriment, she'll alienate Jacob, but she's right. And even in this situation, she's like, her pen is shaking, like, do I sign this? I know something's wrong, but she doesn't speak up this time. And that's kind of that's not her character to be like, to not speak up.
Right.
Because she knows something, and if she feels it, she should say something. And historically, she has, where she slaps the phone down at the table, like, you sent the wrong text message. You sent it to me. That's the type of like revelation that she needs to drop. And at times, she's right, even though it's not the news that anyone wants to hear.
But she always does that to help someone else out, right? To me, she's always like speaking that truth and doing whatever she needs to do to help someone else. Normally Jacob. But this time it was like, I'm going to stay silent. I don't feel right about it, but this one's for me.
See, but here's the problem though. Like her and Jacob's been like, when you enter into a family, it's obvious that her and some parts of the family members, her family in-laws, she doesn't get along with. But she's still in that family, and I think she counts herself not part of that family. Like, she's married to Jacob, but the rest of the family, like, they can stay or go. But when you're so close and you're literally living in the same house as the family,
that's what makes
despite
it
it, some of them don't like you. You have to. The family should be the main priority. Yeah. And I think in this case, it's like, she decided to do it for herself, but at the end of the day, this is going to affect the family. Therefore, it's going to affect her because she's in the family.
Very true.
I think that's some very good. I think that's some very good thinking. If she had been to like a therapist and had this to talk out.
Good, though?
But no, but that family has been shitting on her from day one.
But
literally.
she chose. But
and so she finally
they were probably shitting on her before she got married.
Okay, but maybe, and I think
that's a choice.
No, I think that's true, but I think Jacob probably warranted to her that I got you, and things will change, and things will look this way.
Highly doubt it.
I think his character is that sort of promiser character, and I want to be this kind of person for you.
Yeah, but he's kind of a pussy too.
And I think she realizes that, as time goes on.
She probably knew that before she married him. I'm just saying.
She's a very dominant person.
Alpha woman.
Yeah.
She's a very alpha woman, and he can be less of an alpha male when it's them two together. But he can be the alpha when it's like,
when you cheat.
Right.
Yeah, and I think she believed he would step up to be that.
Yeah, but that's like expecting somebody to change when this is you'll make slight changes if you want to. Yeah. But she was hoping that, okay, well, when we get married, things are gonna change. I'm like, nah, son.
Oh no, it's just.
That's
just what it is. She didn't have the benefit of the on-ler or anything. She didn't have the benefit. So she had the benefit
of Oprah.
Right.
So
that part.
You weren't concerned, Rocky, when she made that decision? Sign the paper?
I mean, I just kind of felt like it's going to bite you back in the end. But if that's what you decide, I feel like everybody is in it for themselves. Yeah. Like, everyone works on their own accord. I really just feel like this family is so much of, like, not a family. They don't consider anyone's feelings. My thing is, especially if you're married, you definitely need to be talking and consoling with your husband about whatever you know that I don't know, especially when you're the one that's married into the family. Like, you're not even...
I agree. I feel like she's just never gotten her way. I think she never gets her way. And this is the only time she got the information, so it's like, unless she says anything, she's like, I can get my way this one time.
It's just, but see, that's just so bizarre to me. Like, for them to be a family of God, of church, and it's just like so much ego. No, but I think that they do. I think that their feelings and ideologies are definitely based on Christian values. I just think that they make mistakes, which is what the show is showing. Right. Humans make mistakes, and this is just on a platform, so it's emphasizing it more. But I mean, I think, I think she just, I don't know. She's, to me, I'm just really trying to figure out where her goal in this season is too. I don't really know exactly where she's. The same with Zora. I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, what's going on with them? I
think Carissa's a dream and end goal, which I highly doubt it will ever happen. She almost got close to it last season. Was that her and her family go off somewhere? Her husband becomes an amazing pastor. She is the first lady, and they are glorified, and they're not bothered by the in-laws. However,
that's how it should have been.
However, because they're even in their dysfunction, they're still a tightly knit family. Jacob's not going to go that far, and for her to hope or think or okay, this is eventually going to happen. Nah, sorry, girl.
That's her pipe dream.
Yeah.
Man. Well,
it was on the button.
Depressing.
Well, we are running out of time.
Should have prayed
so
to God before she got married.
Move on to our.
Talk with Jesus.
We got to move on to we got a quick news and gossip.
We do. do, it's really, really quick, you guys. We just want to give a beautiful shout out to Lovey Simone.
Simone.
She is going to be in the remake of The Craft. So major congratulations to you, girl. Always looking gorgeous on screen. So. Are you guys excited for a reboot of The Craft? I haven't seen the original one. There's a lot of reboots.
I haven't seen the original, but everyone was hyped about it. And I wanted to see it. I never saw it.
I feel like it was a big movie.
Yeah, it was dope.
So congrats to Lovey.
I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
Congrats to Lovey.
And I missed it in my
get that check.
Millennial years.
Get that check.
Well, we got to move on to our next segment. It's called Who Needs Prayer?
Who?
And
Everybody.
We got
a lot of people need prayer, so we're gonna do a sprint version of this. Well, we got it.
Yes. All right. So I'm gonna pray for. Let's see. I don't know. Running up the time. I don't know. I'm gonna do Zora because I feel like I'm trying to figure out where you at right now, girl. I feel like you really want to help your cousin, but you trying to still help yourself. I don't know if you're still in love with this man that's on the road. Who knows? But Zora, we need to figure it out. Stay tuned for next episode.
I'm gonna pray for Karissa. She needs to either decide if she needs to stay or go because girlfriend, that dream ain't happening. So figure it out.
Yeah. Who needs prayer?
You so genuine.
I was like, shit.
Well, I'll probably say
Pray for Noah?
Lady May and Noah.
Oh yeah, we gotta pray for Noah.
Y'all need to get Gigi back. Put that foot in it.
Nah.
Yes. And what do you say?
Right.
I'm gonna pray for Bob Whitmore because I don't know. Listen, I don't know that Bob Whitmore is all that demonized as we kind of want to do with him.
He said it's always you.
Yeah, he's stuck in a rock and a hard place. He's CEO of this church conglomeration, but he's also got to make financial decisions, but also be moved by God. So maybe he's going through some struggles, and maybe he's going through some struggles, and so I'm going to pray for Bob on that one.
He's racist. On brand.
On brand.
Yeah, what's on brand? Racist.
Well, we got the prayers out, but let's get the predictions in.
Okay. Ooh, come on.
TV prediction.
Okay, shaka.
Yeah, I think that AJ is not gonna slaughter his family because he finds
Just a few cuts.
You know, right? Well, let's just get straight to the point. He's not gonna wind up in jail from slaughtering his family. He has now fallen in love with the fact that he has a sister, and he is going to redeem himself with the family and try to be a great asset to the family. But they're not all going to be receptive.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of things playing out, so I definitely see that AJ situation. And then I think Gigi might hit her breaking point. Because we've seen her so strong throughout the seasons that, yes, you know, she's had a little bit of falter, but I think she might actually hit her breaking point where she has to take a huge step back and actually look at all the things she's doing to see if they were actually the right decisions.
Yeah, with Mac it was.
And of course, you can't give us predictions.
You know I'm not going to say
right, because he said he knows everything.
Wait, let's see if we can do this.
I know everything.
Can we do this? You as Noah, the daddy. What would you say to AJ now, given what we know at this point in the season, what would you counsel this young man as your son? What would you say to him?
What would I say to him? Well, at this point, we've not met face to face.
Yeah, so you just if you were to come in right now and you just knew that he just got out of prison and you just...
Oh, wow.
Because you know of him now. Yeah, he called you and said,
him.
So what would you say now to him? He calls you on the phone.
You know what? Get ready.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
Get ready.
Get ready. Buckle up.
Buckle up.
Getty up, cowboy.
All right.
Yeah, prison
Put your
was
seat right.
Dog jail was bad. No, I'm saying
Greenleaf is worse.
All right.
It's a lot.
Yeah, you're this family. Anyways, we got to thank you so much for joining us.
You know what? I do have a real quick, because I know you got to wrap. So check this out.
Okay.
So I'm doing on my Instagram, through my Instagram, I'm going to do a giveaway toward the end of the season because I have a script. My script. And hold up. Wait for it. So I got the season 4. This is for one person. I got the season 4 hat. A couple other surprises.
I'm signing up.
I can make some other stuff happen for y'all.
I thought you were gonna bring some Henny.
Yeah, right? some Greenleaf Hennessy. So for through my Instagram and through all that kind of stuff, all my social media, follow me at Benjamin Patterson all day, and I will be giving away the autographed script sealed that was actually my script. So I'm worth it to somebody. All my highlights, all my little notes, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna be giving that away before the end of the season.
Nice.
So
Okay.
I'll be back.
Yes, that's a beautiful gift.
Yeah,
If it makes it out of the studio.
No, honestly, 'cause I'm like, I'm
I'm about to get jumped.
Yes, that's awesome.
Oh, okay.
That is dope.
That is
So,
dope.
thank you.
I love it.
Well, thank you for the hopefully the Greenleaf update before we go.
Yeah, right.
Again,
I know.
thank
Hand
you-
me over that script real
right.
quick.
Thank you so much again for joining us. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Yep. See, listen.
Swag.
Sign up.
He ain't making out of this.
Yeah.
Right. I
Make
might
out
get
the studio.
jumped and.
Facts on facts.
Well, we gotta wrap it up, guys. Rocky, where can they find you, Miss Harris, online?
You know, online everywhere, all social media at Raquel Harris TV. My name is Rocky Harris.
And you can find me on everything at TK Trinidad and website TK Trinidad. And if you want any cocoa butter, you can go to centeringcompany.com.
Mr. Patterson?
You can find me on everything at Benjamin Patterson all day. Twitter at Ben Just Creates, and now on SoundCloud at Benjamin Patterson Music.
Ow!
Nice. Guys, you can
Do
follow
it.
me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Shaka Strong. Have a good week, guys.
Ciao.
Stay black.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.